everyone, and welcome to the CPA Moms podcast. I'm Nicole, your host and the brand ambassador of CPA Moms, where we believe that real success is only meaningful if it holds up in every area of life. What we call the 4 F's: firm, financial, family, and fitness. If one area is lacking, the rest really lose their meaning. You can have a thriving career, but if your health's falling apart, it doesn't really feel like success. You can have all the money, but if your family life is strained, then the joy seems to disappear. Today, I am honored to welcome Mya Zavaleta, a seasoned occupational therapist, nature advocate, and mom who bridges nearly 2 decades of clinical experience to her unique approach. At Rooted, Mya blends her ecotherapy certification, her background working in schools, and her passion for nature to help children grow confidence, connection, and calm outside of traditional settings. She also brings a bicultural lens and Spanish fluency, which deepens her ability to meet diverse kids and families where they are. We have a shared belief in holistic wellness and family empowerment, and so I am thrilled to explore with you, Mya, how nature-based therapy and sensory emotional support can shape not just children, but really whole families. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I'm so glad to be here. Yes, nature is at the crux of, I think, of what's missing in so many families' lives and just human lives. There's just such a focus on technology, fast news, media, just at us in all different ways. And so when we're in nature, that all is just kind of melts away. We just exist in the space that we're in. And what's wonderful about the experience I have with so many of my clients is we arrive in the space together at the same time. It's neutral space. I can't tailor it to the right temperature that we want, the lighting, the animals, the cleanliness, the order. It's nature. It's happening. We're witnessing it together. We're writing on a piece of paper and it blows away. It's like Mother Nature just blew that wind away. Isn't that so interesting? It came from there and it blew back. So it's just that we're just experiencing it in tandem together and working through it. And sometimes Mother Nature rains on us and it gets really chilly and there's fog and there's really, really hot. So we need to find shade. And it really helps kids notice what's happening with their bodies and what their body needs. My skin is feeling really hot. This is too much sun for me. I need to get in the shade. I'm feeling really thirsty because it's so hot. So it helps build that interoception sense, which is so important. And I work with neurodivergent children. So that means children that have ADHD, that are autistic, that have anxiety, that have sensory difficulties. So helping tap into those biological needs and noticings is just so meaningful and relevant when we are doing that in nature together.
Beautiful. So I think you touched on it a little bit, but if you could just clarify for those that may not be real familiar with it, what exactly is nature-based occupational therapy?
Yeah. So occupational therapists, in the true sense of the word occupation, it's what someone's job is. So we support whatever someone's role or job in their life is. So when I work with children, so their job is to be a learner, a thinker, social, peer, uh, a child in their family dynamic, and explorer, just playing and exploring the world. So there are things that get in the way of some kids being able to do that with ease. So occupational therapy helps support whatever areas that are a challenge for them. And I'm a strength-based therapist. I always look at what they're able to do and build on that, help them really see that those are their strengths. Let's explore more superpowers. So then the space that I'm in, I partner with nature in order to facilitate that growth and those developmental areas that we work on. So that means I work at a turtle and tortoise rescue and the slow botanical garden, and it's wonderful space because it's very child-centered in that kids can touch and explore and climb and build and do all different types of things. But it's really magical to be, and I'm going to give you an example of what nature-based OT is in this sense at the turtle and tortoise rescue. So there are probably maybe 200 turtles and tortoises in addition to emu and sheep and alpaca and goats and all different types of birds. But specifically in terms of the tortoises, there are maybe 20 or 30 pens of tortoises, and in each pen has a few tortoises. And we go to one of those pens where they can actually pick them up and touch them. And I'm always helping my clients, again, build into that sensory and body awareness. So we look at that, we first notice with our eagle eyes, what, where are the tortoises? What are they doing? Why are they doing those things? And then we use our bat ears to listen. If we can hear, are they scratching on the walls? Are they digging? Sometimes they hit each other when they're feeling like there's some type of conflict or something that's going on with them. And then we use our ninja bodies when we are actually going to be holding them. We, even while we're observing them, we think about our ninja bodies. So ninjas have lots of strength, but they know when to use it and when not to use it. So we need to use our ninja bodies to be able to hold on to them, notice them, and make sure they feel safe, because they're going to give us that visual feedback. As soon as we hold them and our voice gets really loud, their bodies go into their shell. Why did that? And sometimes they'll look at me and say, "Why do I can't see their head anymore? What happened?" I said, "What do you think happened? I wonder if we do something different." And they're like, "Oh, I need to talk quieter." Yes, your body needs to be slow and it needs to be calm. So automatically they regulate because they really want to connect with that little critter. And it's a magical thing to be able to hold on to them. And they know that they have impact on this little critter. And so many of my parents say, I have never seen my child this still. I have never seen them be able to just turn off all their thoughts to be able to hold on to this little tiny thing. So it's so amazing for them to be able to realize, like, I do have the capacity to do that. And this is what it feels like, and this is what it sounds like, and this is the outcome that I get, that this little critter will come out of its shell, literally, and crawl and eat the little grape leaf that I'm going to give him, or make a burrow and make a hole. Why is it making a hole? I don't know. Maybe is it the temperature they're feeling? Sometimes when we get hot, so there's so many different ways to really engage with the animals and help them really have a sense of their own bodies and feel just a sense of such a sense of satisfaction and joy in interacting with these animals.
That is so fun. And just the way you talk about it is so fun, like the eagle eyes.
Hmm.
Very cool. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
What first drew you to bring therapy outside of the four walls and into nature? Because as a society, I feel like we have done the exact opposite.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's actually what drew me to it, knowing that society is doing the opposite. There's this deficit, there's this area of need. And for myself personally, I am a survivor of complex trauma, and nature has been such a therapeutic space for me. So just using that therapeutic use of self, knowing that this is impactful for me, this is meaningful for me, I want that to be have others have that similar experience. So in particular, around COVID, I started seeing clients online on Zoom, and I was at middle school and high school at the time. And I just realized, and it was in Washington, D.C., so the times were very intense there, just being in a tighter urban space. So many of my clients were never going outside for obvious reasons, because everybody was very fearful of getting COVID and this illness,
Right.
and we don't know what's going to happen. And then many of them had multi-generations in their homes and in their apartments, so they couldn't go out because it might infect somebody. And then there was an added layer of fear that they didn't feel, and their parents often didn't feel like they were going to be safe being outside because if there was violence or other things going on. So there's so many reasons why it was a scary time to be outside. So I would start bringing in, I live near an amazing park called Rock Creek Park in DC, and I would bring in tadpoles and we'd look at the tadpoles. And these are like 16, 17, 18-year-olds that had never seen tadpoles. And we'd look at their progress every week, like, what do they look like? What do they look like? And we'd look at the cycle and talk about them. And I said, this is what's happening in the creek right now. And this is what they're doing. So they were just so amazed, and then I bring in leaves and compare the different leaves. Why is this leaf brown and this leaf is green, but it's the same type of leaf? Is it the same type of leaf? We figure that out. Yes, because it dried out. Because when it's nourished and it's full, and it's like they see leaves all around all the time. They didn't realize what the cycle of a leaf even was. So just so many basic things that I realized they are hungry for, they are curious for, and they do not have any connection or meaning to these things, that just bring them such a sense of calm and curiosity. So then I realized, okay, I need to get, so I call them my boxes. The box, which is the screen, the box of the room that they're in, the box of the building, the box of the vehicle that takes them into their home, back to home, then the box that they get into, which is their house or their bedroom. So just all of these boxes, break out of the boxes. Let's find nature. Let's just slow down and just take it in. What do we see? What do we feel? And so that's really what spurred me to realize kids are hungry for this. And as well as me, I show up as my best self being in nature.
Great. Yeah, and so I mean, you are working with children, but of course, with that, you are also then are in contact with parents, so
Absolutely.
adults. And adults in today's society, as we just said, tend to steer away from really being outside in nature. We're inside, we're watching TV or media, all the things, and not necessarily getting out. So, how do you coach the parents who worry about being outside in the elements? Because, as you said, when you in the introduction there, when you first started talking, like you never know what you're going to get
Mhm,
outside, rain,
mhm, mhm.
too much sun, heat. So how do you coach the parents on that who are worried about that side of it?
Yeah, there's definitely a range. I do tend to attract parents that know that nature is a rich source of growth and that they love it themselves. Some not necessarily, and some recognize it, but their children do not necessarily find that that's a space they want to be in or feel comfortable in. So there's definitely a range of comfort and familiarity and just their family, cultural kind of beliefs in nature. So I just support them where they are and help them see the benefits that can have and the outcomes that their children can have. Um, but also, I help them just find simple ways to explore nature. And it doesn't have to be being out in the sun and being at the beach. It can be just looking out your window. What do you see? Going on a walk around, maybe you're going to do 1 block every day or every other day, and then you're going to do 2 blocks, and you're going to expand your curiosity to farther spaces. Maybe you're going to go to a park and notice things being on the swings, but then just take a walk around the nature space, just walking, keeping it simple like that. Um, but I always want it to be very attainable and achievable, and not give them this laundry list of things that you need to do. It's like, oh my gosh, this is more things that I need to do, but I can't do, but then I feel guilt and shame. I don't want that at all. Like, what works for you? Let's give this a try. And then sometimes I say it's okay to feel uncomfortable, and I want you to share that with your child. This is a little uncomfortable. We usually just wake up and watch our cartoons, but we're gonna watch maybe 1 hour instead of all morning, and then we're gonna go outside. It's gonna be something a little different. We're gonna try something different. And then just notice what the whole family feels and what the energy is like in that buzz and that space that you're all sharing, how it might be different after you have that walk or that time together outside.
Do you have any stories that you can share just on how working with a kid has impacted not just that kid, but the entire family?
Oh, I definitely have so many. Let me think about that for a moment. Yeah, one of my more recent clients really struggles with transitions, which is difficult for many neurodivergent kids. So, um, I started to teach him the concept of rituals, and he is 7 in second grade. And I said, rituals feel so good because we know what's coming, and we get to decide what a ritual is and what feels good and what is meaningful to us and what is stuff that doesn't matter and we don't need to do. So I first taught him the ritual of leaving, saying goodbye, and leaving that transition of saying goodbye to somebody is very difficult for him because he's experienced complex loss and trauma in his life. So goodbye feels really final for him. So we said, let's start a ritual that feels really good to say goodbye to each other. I'm going to see you next week, but our time has ended. So we're going to say, see you next week. And then we have to, you're going to get in your car and I'm going to continue what I'm doing. So we said, what he would used to do would just, as soon as I said, let's clean up, he was like, I'm going to go to the car and go to mom. Okay, we're done. Bye. And I said, oh my goodness, that feels so confusing to me because there's still a mess and we didn't really say goodbye, and we didn't get our goodbye handshake or hug or high five, however you want to say goodbye. That seemed too fast for my brain. I'd like to slow that down. So what we're going to do, let's make a list of things we need to do to build our ritual that feels good for both of us. So we're going to put things away, and then we're going to hold hands, and then we're going to walk, and then you're going to get to the car, open the door. Mommy's going to be in the car, and I needed to tell mom when it's time, when our time is done, you're going to stay in the car, and he gets in the car because mom would come out and he'd run off
Mhm.
and run and go see the sheep or the goats or run off. I said, so you're going to stay in the car, and you're going to get in your seat, and you're going to put on your seatbelt, and we're going to say three magic words to each other. And you choose the magic words. And one week it was skimalorink, skimalorink, skimalapink. This week it was treasure, treasure, treasure. So we write it down what the words are so we remember. And so we've done this now for 3 or 4 weeks, and mom is like, oh my gosh, he's like a different child when he comes back from therapy. And I never want to give a child back to their parent with, like, dysregulated so much energy. He was very calm during our sessions, focused, did hard work, great work, but then the goodbye was what was triggering for him. So we built that ritual. I said, do you know what? I can tell this ritual feels so good. I think building a ritual for brushing teeth and bedtime would be so good to work on together. And he's like, yes, I love rituals. So his family is talking about what's really meaningful to him. And we're in session talking about what are we going to really do? Drawing pictures. First, we're going to read one book, and then we're going to 10-minute squeeze hug. Because again, a goodbye, bedtime feels like a goodbye to him. It feels really final. So that trauma comes up for him in that transition too. So all to say that I really figure out what's getting in the way, how the child, what motivates the child, what's meaningful to the child, and nurturing that meaningful connection in the best way that can help them get to that next level of, for this child, being able to transition in and finding a process of through ritual, which is a beautiful thing to be able to experience and name and feel to feel safe for his nervous system.
Yeah, yes, yes, that is awesome. So I know that you work with a lot of neurodivergent kids, and as parents, a lot of times we, especially, very early babies come out and we're watching them and we want to make sure everything is okay and are they developing like they should be, and we're really intensely focused on that. What are some early signs that parents may notice if their child is struggling with sensory overload?
Yeah. Um, so there is every state and every county has a different type of an early start program. Sometimes it's Child Find, First Steps. There's so many different names and kind of organizations that support. So if you do have concerns, definitely reach out to, and you can ask your doctor or pediatrician about programs to have somebody come in the home. It's great because now they come in the home, they do an assessment, and your child has to have, in some areas, it's 2 out of the 5 areas. So I'm not sure I'm going to get it right because I'm not an early start practitioner, but generally I do know language, feeding, um, play, social interactions, and caregiver bonding, maybe. And then I'm not remembering that other one. Maybe cognition, they're thinking. Um, oh, and movement. Movement is definitely one of them too. So those milestones. So they're going to do, they're the experts and they're going to make that assessment. But if you're noticing anything, definitely find that Head Start programming, whatever it could be. But what I like to tell parents is that if you find that they're not able to do things in their daily routine, and their behaviors or their emotions are getting in the way of them being able to complete those daily routines, that could be a sign that something is going on more than within the more typical range of motion of abilities. Now, some kids are just more emotional, so they're going to get really upset when they get the blue cup instead of the red cup. Okay. And how long does it take to quiet them back down or be able to rationalize or reason with them to some degree at a 2 or 3 year old level? Um, but think about the intensity of their behaviors, the frequency of those intense behaviors, and how long they last, the duration. Intensity, frequency, and duration are usually kind of the go-to um, things you want to notice. and maybe jot down, start a journal of what you notice, and then see if there's a pattern of any sort. If it's a time of day, it's after eating certain foods, it's after being with somebody, it's after being in a certain space, just to kind of see what their patterns are to be able to share with your pediatrician, or if you reach out to an occupational therapist to see if they need that support.
Okay. And are there small daily sensory rituals, if you will, that parents can do at home that will help kids?
Yeah, it really depends on each family, but the biggest thing I would say is to model, model, model. So even at the end of a long day, if you're really tired and you're not ready to get like bombarded by all those hugs and read me a book and I want this and just, this has been a hard day. I'm having a hard moment right now. I need to get dressed, get a drink of water, and have a seat. And that means then I'm going to be ready to give you those big hugs. But just kind of like if you need to do something to prepare yourself to be fully present for your child, get yourself ready. Talk about what that is that you need because I'm still thinking about my day and it was a hard day. I had some hard moments. And focus on the word moments. You really because a hard day, maybe sometimes we do have hard days and every moment feels like it's so difficult, but really a lot of times there are moments in our day that are really hard. And we stop and look at it, we think about it, we think, "Oh yeah, this was a bonus, a win for the today. I did this really well. This went incredibly so well, you know." But there were those big moments that we kind of carry that cloud over our head. So let your child know. Sometimes we protect our children from our lived experience. We're like, oh, we just want to be all about their world and what do they need? But we're showing them how we walk through life and work through those difficult moments when we say, this is a hard moment for me. I need to take care of this because then you're giving them the invitation that when they are having a hard moment or need that time to decompress in their day, they can say, I need some space or I need some time or I'm thinking about this. And then they're going to see that that's a part of being human. And then I often encourage parents to create a calm corner that has things that make help them feel calm. If it's lighting a candle, if it's having something visually like a family picture or a saying that a mantra that makes you feel really good. Um, a heavy rock that I personally love rocks and holding a rock that feels smooth and cool when I hold it. And sometimes even having fidgets, like I have these little squishy fidgets that I made with some of my clients. So whatever works for you in your calm space, and you're gonna say, I'm gonna have a few minutes in the calm corner. Would you like to join me if you feel like that you would like to have the child with you? And the child is gonna watch so intently on what you're doing, and then you're saying, hey, this is what we do when we're feeling really intense feelings. And you can do that too at the end of a long day or at any moment in the day. Not like you're having a hard time, go to the calm corner. No, it's actually something we just do when we need to do it. And always show it maybe 5 or 10 times how you use it as the adult. And then the child will much more easily and comfortably consider that as part of their tools.
I really like that. Yeah. I have, so I really like that because like I've created a calming corner for my children and I totally use it the way you just said that is not
Mhm.
the best way to use it. But I like the idea of having one for me that then I can model that for them because they've
Yes.
always been very resistant to the calming corner.
Yeah, because
So
it's like it's a naughty thing. When I'm really bad or
right,
I'm not, mommy
exactly.
can't help me or daddy can't help me, I go to the camcorder. Oh, there's that association. They are so smart. Their nervous systems know. So I wouldn't ever tell them go to the camcorder. You say, I need to go to the camcorder. When you think they need to go there, be like, oh, I actually need to go there. Would you like to join me? If you don't want to, that's fine. But let that be something that you take on and then you embody how that experience is and when that is and why you went there and how you feel afterwards. So,
Great.
yeah.
If you could leave families with one message about helping kids thrive emotionally, what would it
Mm.
be?
Hold space. Hold space for their experiences. Sometimes when they tell us something, I have a 16-year-old and 18-year-old now, and sometimes they'll say something and I'll think, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. I have a million things that they need to do to solve. And I'm like, nope. And then will try my best to say, tell me more, because they're going to give me more. And what else? Hmm. This must have been a difficult moment for you. Okay. And then I will ask, do you want my ideas or do you just want me to listen? 90% of the time, especially my 18-year-old who is exploring lots of things that is and just in trying to differentiate and claim his adulthood, newly found adulthood. He wants me to listen.
Mm.
So I honor that. And I'll say, I'm happy to listen. And if you do want any ideas, we can brainstorm that at some point whenever you want. And oftentimes, maybe within like 24 hours-ish, he will come back and be like, hey, I do want to talk about that. Can we, what are your thoughts? Or do you have ideas? Or, and I'll always say, what are your ideas first? I'd love to hear what you think. And then it's often something similar to mine. You're like, yeah, you've got great ideas. You've got really good instincts on this. I'm confident you're going to handle it appropriately. Or this is really difficult. This is a tricky situation. So really seeing that humanness in him, that and building his capacity.
Okay, I have a follow-up question to my what was going to be my final question because you just said all that like, oh yeah, you just do this, and I'm over here going, how do you do that? Like that's so hard.
It is hard. It's definitely hard. I feel like I'm impacting families with mindset shifts.
Yes.
Just thinking
Yeah.
of it differently. Instead of being reactionary, pause and just listen. Yeah.
Practice. It's going to take
Practice.
practice.
Yeah.
And I like how you said, because this helped me a little when you said normally he comes back within 24 hours.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
at some
'cause
point.
I want to share all my ideas.
Yes, exactly.
But
And
yeah, I
I
mean,
say thank you for sharing. That was a really brave share. I know it was probably hard for you to share, but I'm here for you. Because I
yeah,
know soon enough I'm not going to be there to share and he needs to process this or find his safe
right.
people to be able to, process things with. So,
Right. Yeah, we just talked about this on the mastermind I do with women accountants. And that was one of the things we talked about is, how important it is to understand that they are their own being.
they are their own beings.
And pretty soon they're gonna have to figure it out on their own. And that is
Hmm.
our jobs as mothers to like teach them how to get there. So a
Hmm.
part of that is us cutting the tie, which is I think almost the hardest
Yes.
part sometimes.
Yes. And seeing that life is full of making mistakes
Yeah,
and errors and wrong turns, and you figure your way back. And they
yeah,
do. We all learn by those mistakes. Yeah.
beautiful. Well, thank you so much. This has been a really enlightening conversation. I've really enjoyed it and I've learned quite a few things. So thank you
Awesome,
for
Nicole. I'm so
being.
glad.
All right, well, that is it for today's episode. At CPA Moms, we believe women can have a successful career and raise a happy family. If you are ready to embrace work-life harmony and connect with like-hearted women, then join our CPA Moms Facebook community. Just click the link in the show notes or search CPA Moms on Facebook. We can't wait to welcome you. Until next time, thank you for being here. We see you, we believe in you, and we can't wait to grow with you.